Hi everyone, a very good morning and welcome everyone who joined us in this beautiful morning for this webinar sessions, which we will be talking about the overview of Islamic capital market in Malaysia. So my name is Hilmi. You can also call me Lo or Hilmi is fine. So I will be your host for today. And throughout the sessions, if you have any questions, to avoid interruption, please type your question in the chat box. And at the end of the sessions, we will be addressing it. And also to avoid interruptions during this for the speaker, please make sure you unmute yourself. But at the same time, please open your camera so that we know that, so that we can see you behind your camera. So in this beautiful morning, I think it is our pleasure to have Encik Hilmi, the principal of Masryef Management House, who will provide us a comprehensive insight into the world of Islamic capital market in Malaysia. So a bit introductions about Encik Hilmi, our speaker for today. Encik Hilmi has an impressive 20 years track record of working in bank industry across Kuala Lumpur, Singapore, and Riyadh. His vast experience has allowed him to mentor startups and spearhead in business matching and facilitation as well. Beyond his extensive experience in the banking sector, Encik Hilmi is also a leading advocate for fintech and digital advancement in the financial industry. His visionary approach has not only reshaped the landscape of financial services, but also paved the way for groundbreaking opportunity in the digital market space. Encik Hilmi also leading a boutique Islamic financial advisory company, which is based in Kuala Lumpur. His company has also earned a widespread of recognitions for its pioneering solutions and the commitment to excellence in Islamic financial practices in Malaysia. So let us welcome Encik Hilmi Hithir to the webinar today, where he will for sure inspire and enlighten our audience with his knowledge, industry insight, and also forward-thinking perspective today. So let us enjoy and hope that the attendees today, you can learn something from Encik Hilmi. So let us welcome Encik Hilmi. So Encik Hilmi will take over the screen sharing.
Okay, with me is also my Syariah officer, Alpha, who will be assisting and also presenting on this topic. So today we're going to talk about an overview of the Islamic capital market in Malaysia. So before that, I think we'll introduce a bit about Masryef and myself. Next slide, please. Yeah, so we are actually a Sharia advisory firm based in KL. Our focus is on the fintech and digital space. I think what is different from other Sharia advisory firm is we also assist our clients and partners in terms of business matching, network facilitation, and also to some extent fund raising. So both me and my partner Khairil, we are ex-bankers with working experience here in Malaysia and Middle East. So with that network and context, we also assist our clients for their market expansion to the Middle East and getting foreign investors to come into this market. Okay, so next. Okay, so the outcome that we hope to achieve from this session is actually to give the startups and those that are looking into venturing into the fintech space, some background in terms of the difference between Islamic and conventional, and to understand how Islamic finance is regulated here in Malaysia, with SC, BNM, SKM, KPKT being the regulators, and also to explore the potential in the Islamic capital market space. Yeah, and then also to add to that, we want to also provide an overview of the Islamic fintech space in Malaysia, and also give some comfort to startups that there is support from the ecosystem here in Malaysia, from regulators like SC, agencies like embark, and also incubators, accelerators like Lead Capital. Okay. Next. Okay, as I think all of us know, Malaysia is the Islamic finance hub, where we are the leading in terms of the leader in terms of having the infrastructure and regulatory framework in place. As you can see, we are the largest sukuk issuer, Islamic banking assets, and even in the fund management side, AUM, we have the largest, one of the largest in the world. But I think what we have to bear in mind is that even though we have been the leader for, all this while, we have to be wary about the upcoming challenges from the market, like Indonesia, Saudi, UAE. As we all know, Indonesia, they have the population, the reach, being the largest Muslim population in the world, and also Saudi and UAE, Dubai, they have the capital, they have the money. So how do we compete, or how do we stay ahead in this space? I think we have to look at what we have and see how we can really push further in terms of staying ahead. We have the strong regulatory support from BNM, SC, and the government in providing the infrastructure, framework, tax incentives, and also we have the ecosystem in place, whereby we have the MDEC to really supervise and guide startups by connecting the investors, the market access, the support, training, exposures to the market, to the banks and FIs. And, from here, I think having this lead, I think we need to continue and develop the talent and also the resources that we have by coming up with coming up with creative, innovative ideas, and make the propose and come up with good ideas for the digital and fintech space. Okay, next. Okay, this is just an overview of the global fintech landscape that is compiled by IFN Fintech. I think on the next slide, we'll go a bit more detail. Next slide. Okay, so as you can see, the Malaysia Islamic fintech landscape is still relatively small compared to the overall fintech market, whereby it's only 5% of the total fintech market as reported by Fintech News Malaysia. And as you all know, recently BNM also approved 2 Islamic digital banking license to CAF and also Aeon. So there's actually a lot more that can be done in this space, whereby we can also look at, I think, cash wakaf, takaful tech, and also other areas which I think we will further discuss in the second part of the presentation. Okay, next. So this is basically one of the main question that we'll get from our potential clients is why opt in or consider Sharia compliant or Islamic finance. So and this is usually what we will inform them. Basically, it's to get the buy-in from the government and the regulators, because it is in line with the government initiative, and also it is also in line with the current what do you call that, demand in terms of ESG, SDG, value-based intermediation practices, and of course a bigger market. Next. So as in Malaysia, the whole Islamic finance ecosystem is in place, whereby we have the support from the regulatory bodies, and also we have a good pool of Sharia advisors other than Masryef to provide the support and offer the service in advising the clients. So in terms of the demand, it comes from both the investor side and also the market intermediaries, the users, the customers. You know, being a majority Muslim country, so and then we have large, not and medium-sized institutional and corporate investors such as, you know, Tabung Haji, KUAP, EPF. And then also the corporacies that would want to invest in Islamic products and have the Islamic first policy. And at the same time, in terms of going to the market, most of the users prefer or would want to have the Islamic option. Okay, next. Yeah, so in conclusion, it's you get the wider coverage. You have a wider net in terms of the reach by having a Sharia compliant product and services. Okay, so I think next I'll pass this to Alpha to talk about Islamic finance in general. Over to you, Alpha.
Thank you, Cik Hilmi. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our session. So, as per the introduction done by Cik Hilmi, now we get the overview on the market itself, the Islamic finance market itself. So, what I'm going to explain a bit here is regarding what is actually Islamic finance. So when we talk about having Islamic finance, what are the elements that differentiate Islamic finance from the conventional ones? So my first slide would be the definition on Islamic finance. So Islamic finance is a financial system. As we all know, the current financial system we are all in, except that Islamic finance need to adhere to certain guidelines or certain rules set by Sharia or Islamic law. So we often hear the word Sharia when we deal with Islamic finance, right? So what is meant by Sharia is the Islamic law, whereby it covers everything in our daily lives. So when we are talking about our financial system, it covers the transactions, it covers the operation, it covers how the interactions between the financial institution and the customers as well. And all the principles and code of practice need to be aligned with whatever that the Islamic law or the Sharia has said. So our main source of guidance that we use for Islamic finance is certainly first the Holy Book of Quran, and also the Sunnah from our Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and also we have the ijma, which is the consensus of our Islamic scholars. So currently in our modern practice, we have the Sharia Advisory Council at Bank Negara Malaysia or at Securities Commission, they are the scholars which we can refer to in regards of the do and don'ts in Islamic finance. So when we're talking about Sharia and Islamic finance, there are some values that we should adhere to, and as much as possible, we should try to embed all these values into our daily transaction and operation. So how Islamic finance is structured is, it is almost similar to the conventional counterparts, the conventional finance counterpart. So to differentiate between the operation, the transaction is so much similar between Islamic and conventional, right? So as much as possible in the at the back end, we should try to at least have we should try to at least embed all these Sharia values into our Islamic financial transactions. So the first values is that Islamic finance encourage real transaction. So if you notice under Islamic finance, we always say that the contract is important. So all contracts in Islamic finance actually is based on a real asset transaction. So if you see every contract that Islamic finance uses, it cannot be a transaction which is out of thin air. You have to have some kind of asset, you have to have some kind of business for you to justify the income that you have gained. The second one is ethical value. So in our ethical value, we prohibit gambling, riba, non-permissible goods and items. Basically, any activities that is considered non-ethical from society point of view or from Sharia point of view, that is not allowed to be in the Islamic finance transactions. And the last one would be the governance and transparency. So when we're talking about transparency, they should not be, so we have the financial institution and we have public customers, right? Between all parties in the Islamic financial transactions, they should not be any one of the parties that have more knowledge compared to another. So let's say the customers goes to a bank, the bank cannot hide any details from the customer. It should be conveyed altogether to the customer. So how we actually do this is we outline everything in the documentations between the banks and the customer. Okay. And some prohibitions, this is a known prohibition in Islamic finance, right? So we should not have riba, gharar, maisir, non-halal and immoral activities. So the first one is riba. What is meant by riba is when riba or interest is when you earn a money out of thin air, or you give out money and then you gain extra on top of that money that you gave out. So that is prohibited. But you can earn money based on my previous slide, based on the real transaction. So meaning you have to like sell your assets or something and agree on a certain profit margin for you to earn the income. The second one is excessive uncertainty or gharar. This is where one of the parties have no knowledge on what is going on in the transaction. So under a transaction, there may be some details or some information that is missed from one of the parties, and that is allowable. However, for example, if you enter into a transaction without knowing what kind of asset you are selling or how much profit the bank is charging, that is considered an excessive uncertainty. The third one would be maisir. This is a straightforward one where you just gamble your way in, and then either you lose or you gain something. It's never a certain situation where you know for sure that how you would gain some income or you would lose the money. The fourth and fifth one would be the non-halal and immoral activities. How these two differs is that the non-halal one I'll show you in the next slide. But non-halal items, basically whatever items that is considered Sharia non-compliant from Islamic point of view. So I mentioned earlier there's Islamic law. Under Islamic law, there are some things that Muslims specifically cannot deal with. And when we are dealing with Islamic finance, those items cannot be transacted as well. The immoral activities includes gambling, includes excessive leveraging, and basically any unethical activities that this even as a society, even not as a Muslim, the society views it as unethical, that is prohibited under Islamic finance. Okay. This is the prohibited or non-halal items that I mentioned earlier. So we extracted this list from Securities Commission, SSC of Securities Commission, Sharia Advisory Council Securities Commission resolution. But different Sharia scholars may have different interpretation of this list, meaning that this list is not exhausted. Each of the Sharia advisors of each financial institution may have additional items that they want to add into the list. For example, what can I give for example? For example, musical instruments. Some of the scholars regards it as Sharia non-compliant. So so let's say you are a supplier of musical instrument and you want to have working capital financing for your business. So if you go to a bank that their Sharia advisor do not allow musical instruments, so you cannot obtain that facility. Okay. So the Islamic finance component, they are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 here: banking, capital market, money market, takaful, and other non-bankings. So for our today's discussion, we're going to only focus on capital market instrument. So we're going to talk about Islamic capital market specifically. So when we're talking about Islamic capital market, it's basically a securities market where all the transactions or all the instrument and investment activities is structured in a way that aligns with the Sharia principles. So if you want to do, say, sukuk issuance, your sukuk, or the way you structure that sukuk, the way you raise money and then use the proceed of that sukuk and then give out the return to the investors, all of that transaction step, each of the steps should be in line with what Sharia says. There should not be any element of all the 5, the riba or maisir and non-halal activities that we discussed earlier in the whole transaction end to end. So the market players in Islamic capital market, the known ones are, some of them are brokerage houses, investment banks, funds management institution. So the other players that are also in the Islamic capital, that is considered Islamic capital market players as well, now is under recognized market operator, the RMO, such as P2P, ECF, what else, digital asset exchange, all the digital players, fintech players, they are governed under Securities Commission. So the instrument that they issued is also considered as Islamic capital market instrument. Okay, so in terms of market, the Islamic capital market, like Hilmi mentioned earlier, we would have a larger base of customers, larger base of stakeholders if we are to jump into Islamic capital market, Islamic space, rather than being confined into just our conventional financial system. So it is the same with Islamic capital market. So when we have another space of, let's say, this this person or this category of people, they don't want to be in the conventional space. They only want to opt for Islamic, whether it's for their financing or for their job hunting or anything, right? So when we open this Islamic capital market space, we would tend to attract more investments inside and outside Malaysia, hence opening more job opportunities as well. Hence my first point is it will generate more economic growth for our country. Second one would be ICM is parallel to the market of the conventional capital market. The conventional capital market has been long in the industry, right? So instead of we starting something new, it is always easier to leverage on the current market that we have, that the conventional capital market has already built for us. But we have to align everything as per the Sharia compliant guidelines. And Islamic capital, my last point is Islamic capital market is complementary to Islamic banking system, where in Islamic banking system, you are dealing with taking deposit and giving financing, but for Islamic capital market, you can also have the option to invest or raise fund for your businesses in a Sharia compliant way. So instead of you just focusing on where you want to put your money in a Sharia compliant way and generate certain rates from your deposits or from your placement, you can also invest and get into a real trading economy, I would say, because in Islamic capital market, usually you invest in a company that is already established, right? Some of the ICM's instruments, there's Sukuk, there's Islamic equities, Islamic unit trust fund, and REITs. The other one, like I mentioned earlier, there's also Islamic, we call it Islamic investment note in the digital fintech area. The Islamic investment note is issued by peer-to-peer platform, P2P, or ECF platform, equity crowdfunding platform. And nowadays we also have we call it IEO, Initial Exchange Offering Platform. All of the notes issued that we can invest in, they are all called Islamic investment note, and that Islamic investment note is considered as one of Islamic capital market instrument as well, as per SC's definition. Okay, so I think with that, I'll pass back to Hilmi to explain a bit on this recognized market operator market.
Okay, thank you, Alpha. Yeah, as Alpha mentioned just now, another section of SC ICM is the RMO. As you can see, the most common operator in the RMO space is the P2P, followed by ECF. Currently, I think half or more than half are offering Sharia compliant platform as well. But I think for the third cohort, where now SC has opened the application for P2P and ECF, for this new application, it is required for the applicant to decide whether to be fully Sharia compliant or conventional platform. You cannot no longer opt to operate both conventional and Islamic. However, we are here to assist if you want to explore in this applying for the license for either P2P or ECF. And then also on the, as mentioned by Alpha, on the IEO, we have two licensed operator at the moment, Pitchin and KLDX, whereby they issue tokenized investment notes, which can be either debt, equity, or a fund structure. I think one space that I think we can all look into is actually on the digital exchange platform. whereby currently the exchange is for cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all that. But we've yet to see a fund structure to support or to complement this, having a so-called unit trust for digital assets. I think that is something that a space that we should be looking for and looking at in the near future. To further add to this, as long as you are offering a Islamic ICM product, the operator is required to have a Sharia advisor to be on their side in developing the product and offering the service. Okay. Next. Okay, from the digital aspect, I think we've listed down a few of the applications that can be implemented in the ECM space. Having for example, digital fund management platform, looking at a digital investment crowdfunding, and providing that secondary market option for the assets that has been listed, because as you all are aware, like for example Sukuk, it's very illiquid, where most of the subscribers hold until maturity the assets, right? Likewise, what is currently in the RMO space, so there's no liquidity in terms of once you get in, there's limited ways for you to get out, right? So if we can further develop the secondary market, I think that will be helpful in further enhancing the liquidity of the platforms. Another thing is also on the robo-advisory services. As we know, currently there's only Wahid that is offering this Islamic offerings, Islamic robo-advisory. So this is also another space that one should explore. It's not going to be easy because there's a lot of works in terms of the AI and the machine learning in terms of getting the classification, whether the equity or the stock is Sharia compliant or not. But it is definitely a space that one should look at, because currently there's not many players in this space. And also, as mentioned, machine learning, AI, in terms of the analytical and assessment of the credit and the investment portfolio. And also on the back end, a lot are also looking at the blockchain and smart contract to be implemented. This is what the IEO platforms are currently doing, tokenizing all the investment notes. I think the key point that we want to highlight here is that SC is actually looking for the value proposition to be offered to the end users. Yeah. So for all new RMOs or new players that wants to get into the ICM market, the question is how you are going to be different from the others, and what value do you bring to the end users. Yeah. So in this aspect, it's actually the common things like speed, real time, transparency, ease of navigating the UI UX. So we would definitely be open to hear ideas, fresh ideas from new startups in this space. We can suggest a few things that you can look at. As mentioned, digital asset unit trust. Another thing is the secondary market, and also securitization of the assets currently in the RMO space. And also, I think another thing that we always try to encourage is on the analytical aspect, the credit assessment, investment assessment. Maybe we should move from historical to actuary-based pricing, and from there, I think there's a real game changer to what is currently being done by the banks and FIs. Okay, next. Yeah, to highlight the trends and opportunities, I think the current flavor is ESG, SDG, sustainability, and all these are actually there's an overlap with Sharia compliant, because this is also part of the Maqasid Sharia, whereby we want it is also a requirement that whatever that is being done is sustainable and for the greater good of the society. So right now, as you can see, we have hit the record issuance for the green sukuk, and also on the ESG part, there's a global ESG bond issuance of more than 1 trillion in 2021. And then also on the SRI, whereby on the carbon of a net zero credit, we have the SRI sukuk that is being implemented. Okay, next. Okay, so on this, we would also like to summarize in terms of the intention or the goal of the regulators, the SC, BNM, in terms of where we want to take this Islamic fintech further. Is one of it is the financial inclusion, and to support the unbanked population and the B40. This is also part of the requirement by BNM for the digital applicants. So the digital banks are required to look into the financial inclusion and supporting and assisting the B40 and the unbanked market. So I think right now we know that we were the advisor of Aeon Digital Bank for the application. So we know that Aeon Digital is actually pushing for this, coming up with creative, innovative product solutions to support and cater the unbanked and the underserved market. And also I think another section is on the sustainability agenda, in terms of more engagement for the carbon credit, the SDG, ESG, and lastly is also on the to further promote the ECF and P2P platforms. I think the government is also providing the support in terms of matching grant or matching funding from Penjana Capital and a few other entities like MDEC. So whenever there is a listing or by the issuers, the SC and some of the institution will match whatever has been raised in the platform. Okay. Yeah, so now I think just a bit about ourselves. So we are focused on Islamic fintech and the digital space. How we are different is we are more on the product development, product structuring side rather than just advice on the Sharia aspect. So we also advise in terms of the business, the operation, the risk, and support you in terms of business matching, fundraising, and giving the market access as well. Yeah. So I think next, and then also to highlight, we are registered with SC, SSM, and MDEC, SKM, and MDEC. Yeah. Okay. In summary, this is the services that we provide: Sharia endorsement, documentation review, product development, system development. Yeah. Okay. We would also like to take this opportunity to share about our social enterprise platform, Amalfia. So I'll get Alpha to share the video. Yeah, I think that is all from our side. After this is the Q&A session. So feel free to ask any, or you can reach out at our social media platforms, our LinkedIn, and also you can just contact us if you need our assistance or guidance. Yeah. So we are open to, I think we'll pass this back to Lermin for the Q&A section.
Yeah. Thank you, EJ Hilmi, and also Alpha for the session. So we are now open for Q&A. I think we have a few questions in the chat box. So let me read it out. So for the first questions, from your experience, what advices would you give to those who want to work in the Islamic finance sector or entrepreneur looking to enter the Islamic capital market?
What
So
advice? Oh, I think one is to get into this space, one needs to be what do you call that, ready. It's not an easy market to go in terms of having to sustain getting past the initial stage of from the idea stage to the getting the concept and going to the market, right? Because of course there's the whole ecosystem in place. You can have the support from MDEC, from advisors like us, and also incubators, accelerators like Lead Ventures, Lead Capital. So but the thing is you need to really know what you want to do, and there's also some limitation in terms of Islamic offerings, because some are actually under the state Islamic agencies like zakat, wakaf. So it's not that easy to get the state government agencies buy-in for you to launch your products.
Okay, thank you, Hilmi. I think for those who are like the audience today, I believe they are the profile that is aspiring to work in the Islamic finance sector or looking to enter. So thank you for the insight. I think we also have a few more questions coming. So also any insights you can share into any successful collaborations or partnership that have driven the growth of the Islamic finance industry in Malaysia.
So in terms of success stories or case studies that we can share, right now, one of the things that we assist or advise is on the Islamic inheritance or Islamic will writing, wasiat. So from that, we have a few of our clients, partners that have developed the digital wasiat with the Farid calculator algorithm being embedded in. So we've seen the success whereby banks like Maybank has partnered with them, and also other corporates outside of Malaysia and also in Malaysia that have agreed to collaborate, white label their products. So that is one that I think a good case study in terms of digitalizing what is currently being done manually, and by that it's a bit more easy for people to use and adapt. Yeah.
Okay. I think we also have more questions coming from Eric from Capco. So what are the top 5 active countries that enter Malaysia as Islamic funds?
As Islamic funds? Oh, okay. Top 5 will be from Singapore, Thailand, Indonesia, Brunei, and the Middle East. Yeah, so we have clients that have applied to have this asset management fund management license, because they are getting funds from these 5-6 countries that are keen to put into Islamic funds, Sharia compliant funds here in Malaysia. But I think on top of that, other countries like Japan, they are also started to like the Sharia compliant and Islamic funds due to the similarities in terms of sustainability and ESG. Okay.
I think also a few more questions from Eric. What are the key asks or demand from foreign investors in this space, as well as the opportunity for domestic players?
What are the
key asks or demand from foreign investor in ICM space, and also the opportunity for domestic player?
Okay. So the key demands from foreign investors is, of course, the Sharia compliancy. They want it to be one Sharia compliant and also a licensed entity that is offering or providing the service. So that is the key request from the foreign investors. And as for the opportunities for the domestic players, I think as mentioned earlier, there are still spaces where you can actually explore of what is currently in the investment banking, corporate finance space that has not been implemented or adopted in the digital space, like securitization of the assets and the secondary market, which I think is two things that we see there's a opportunity for the domestic players to look at. Yeah.
Okay. I think we have one last person for the questions today.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, from Lisa. So the question is that we are definitely the developer, especially for that DAPP. We are especially having interest in developing Sharia compliance product, and they have some frameworks. But they are still not the business people to run the solutions. So the questions from them is that, do you have program for us to work together? For this, you can join FIKRA ACE program. And also with any funding available, we want to focus on tech and development. Yeah, so I think there is a questions from in the chat box from Lisa. So basically,
I think
she's
this,
asking any program, to work together.
This one you can go then to the FIKRA program.
Yeah.
I think for system development, we also can provide that service of working together in terms of coming up with the Sharia compliant system solution for you to sell to Islamic financial institutions. We can do that as well and certify that the system is Sharia compliant.
So once again, I think it is the end of the Q&A sessions and also the sessions. Thank you, Hilmi, and also Alpha for the sharing just now. I think the sharing is really insightful, and I hope that it actually sparked the interest of every one of you here to venture into Islamic capital market. So, for those who are interested, do not miss out FIKRA ACE Accelerator program, which we have been talking about it. So we will also sharing these informations after that for your registration. So just a big introduction. So FIKRA ACE program is actually a collaboration between SC, Securities Commission, and also 1337. So the whole accelerator program will take around 6 to 8 weeks, and it will happen predominantly online for now. And the registration is closing soon. It's 2 weeks later, which is 4th of August, for those who are interested. And if today's talk, if you find it insightful for you to venture or advance into Islamic capital market, feel free to register. And with this program, we aim to have with participants a tested POC, proof of concept, as well as potential collaborations with the industry partner that we will be bringing in. So it's definitely an advantage and also an opportunity for you who does want to explore POC projects and also working with industry partners. So I think that is all for today. Thank you, the speakers today, Hilmi and also Alpha, as well as every one of you here today to make this event webinar successful. So I hope that you learned something from the speaker. At the same time, also have some idea how you're going to move on in the industry. So let's take a group photo before we end. Smile.